Hello garden gals and guys, welcome back to Fat Earth Backyard Farm. I thought I'd take you all on a tour because I know you've seen me in videos in my garden, in my backyard farm, in bits and pieces, but you've never really seen the whole thing, so I'm taking you on a tour today. So from here I'm standing by the side of the house and there's my part of my garage, and I walk into my backyard and there's my wonderful little fire pit that I make lots of wonderful campfire chicken on when I don't feel like firing up the grill and I just want to be au naturel. So when you go to my right, here's 3 of my raised beds, and in it I've got collards, which are bolting because the weather got a little too cold at night, and collards don't like really cold weather, and I did a video on that, so be sure to check that out. And I've got some peas that I planted, just threw them in there to see what they would do, and that one came up and one down there came up. My spinach is doing really well. I'm gonna cut some of those leaves today and have a little spinach salad. And here, what looks like grass, that's my garlic. And this is another row of garlic that isn't doing as well as the other row. This is my daughter's raised bed. She has yet to decide what she's going to put in it. This is Aaron's raised bed. Of course, he said, "Mom, you can plant whatever you want." So I planted more spinach in there. And I've got more collards here in my little bucket. Then we go around. There's Nathan, my peach tree, who's blooming well. I fertilized him. And here's the big garden. This is where it all started. That is the original Fat Earth. And you can see we had a lot of rain over the past 2 days. And thankfully my garden doesn't get really flooded. This is just the area where I have the pavers that we dug down. That gets flooded, but thankfully it doesn't really go into my garden. It looks like it does, but my plants kind of stop right there where my foot is. There's all my strawberries. Then right down here I've got, these are all beans, yard-long beans that I have, thanks to my wonderful gardening friend Blake, who sent me seeds. My babies are doing well. And I've got a little bit of arugula right there that I bought. Doesn't seem to be doing too well, but I'm going to let it keep growing. This here is my onion bed. This is not grass, those are onions. And they seem to be doing pretty well. And onions and strawberries, I've read, grow well together, so I'm testing out that theory right now. Behind my garden, you can see the bane of my garden existence. It's called ground ivy. And no matter how much I pull it, it just keeps coming back. But thankfully that's outside the garden. I'll probably get in there once it gets a little more dry and pull it out. It comes up very easily. This is the newest addition to the backyard farm. That's my Blackberry Bush, and it's doing really well. We've got some blooms on there, you can see. Sorry, I'm still getting over allergies / cold, whatever this is. You can see my sugar snap peas growing quite nicely on the vine. My chickens, when I let them out here to run, they like to try and eat these, so they kind of demolished the ones back there, but I'm willing to sacrifice that for some good eggs. But these seem to be doing pretty well. And then you may remember from my other video, this is my lettuce and broccoli bed. This is obviously the broccoli, and then on the outskirts is the lettuce. Seems to be coming along. Coming along. And then over here I don't really plant too much because no matter what I've done, I've tried adding soil, I've tried just about every solution out there to keep the garden from flooding. You can see it floods over here. And I forgot about this part because I have potatoes right there. You can see where that white tab is, and there's a little green thing that's actually a potato sprout. Not sure if that's going to make it because it's flooded right there. But I have tomatoes all down here where you see those white sticks. Those are all, not tomatoes, those are all potatoes. So hopefully I'll get some. I can see another spot where the water's been pooling. And then in between my potatoes, I planted 2 green bean plants. they seem to be doing sort of okay. I'm not sure how they're going to like their roots being so saturated right now, but we'll see. So this is the big garden, and then this is my latest addition. This is my raised bed. I did a video on this as well. And I think I'm going to plant watermelons in there. My daughter had the idea of planting watermelons. And you can see I've got herbs in the smaller holes. I've got thyme there, some chives, which look like just straight blades of grass right now. And this is all basil I planted from seed. That's doing really well. And then this is oregano that I bought. I have some that I started from seed that's doing pretty well. Then over here, I have another onion bed that I made. So I have 2 new beds that I made this year. And though the grass is trying to edge its way back in, you can see my onions. This is an onion. This is an onion. They're doing pretty well. Pretty happy about that. A couple of them came uncovered, so I'm just going to get a little bit more topsoil and give them another sprinkle. So that's my other onion bed. And then this is my greenhouse, which you've seen in my videos, which, by the way, the slugs love. Ugh. I actually came in here this morning and there was a slug hanging from the ceiling by its slime trail. I've never in my life seen that before, and of course it made me itch and not want to be in my greenhouse. See what I mean? Look, look, look. I don't know if you can see that little nasty slug. They are death to vegetable plants. They don't seem to be bothering mine so far. So in here I've got a mix of things that I have bought as well as things that I've started from seed. Everything on these 3 shelves here, I started from seed. What's on the floor there is kale, which I bought. Everything on this shelf, I started from seed. I've got some Malabar spinach, thanks again Blake, some sugar snap peas. This is the oregano I started from seed. I've got some tomato plants here and some cucumbers and some squash. Down here are pepper plants and tomato plants that I bought. I have a ghost pepper in there called a buchalokia. It's even hotter, makes a habanero seem like a sweet pepper. And I have some Caribbean red, some hot peppers, some habaneros, and then a couple of tomato plants because I have a tomato addiction. And then up here I've got some okra and some watermelon. And my tomatoes, I grew all this from seed. My tomatoes look a little spindly. I'm kind of worried. I've given them their tomato food, their organic tomato food, to try and see if that helps them a little bit because the seaweed fertilizer wasn't really doing the trick now. So we'll see what happens. That's the thing with farming. You never give up, never surrender. You just keep trying different things. I'm not sure why they're kind of spindly this year. Last year I didn't have this problem, but last year I didn't have them out in the greenhouse either. So we'll see what happens. So those are all things I grew from seed. These are all plants I grew from seed. Tomatoes, some of the smaller ones not coming along really well. My bigger tomatoes, those are 2 peppers that I grew from seed. Peppers take a really long time to germinate. I had pretty much given up on that tray. The tray was just getting watered as the tomatoes were getting watered, and then lo and behold, sprouts. So, gonna keep those watered. This is my little experiment. I have different types of lettuce on the outer skirts, and then my radishes. And you can see this one is almost ready. When a radish grows, you can see that pink there. It's they're called the shoulders of the radish, and the more they come out of the ground, that's when you know they're ready. When they're about 1 inch across, they're ready. You don't want to leave them in too long because they'll get spongy or really hard. So I'm probably going to do another video and just harvest that one because I think that one is ready but the rest aren't. So I'm excited. I'm going to have some radishes and some lettuce and some spinach to put on the table pretty soon. And then I've got over here some volunteer fennel that came up. This was actually out where the big raised bed is, where I have my garlic now. There was fennel there last year, and this was sitting right near the fennel. So I keep seeing these popping up all in the raised bed, and I keep pulling them out because I don't want them growing, but I'm letting those two grow. And then all this little stuff here is actually mint that I sprinkled the seeds, and they're really teeny tiny when you get them. So I just sprinkled them, let them fall where they may, and as that grows up, I'm just going to repot them into separate pots. This is some dill that I'm growing for my mother-in-law, and you can see how similar that looks to fennel. They're very similar plants from the same family. And this is my quinoa, spelled Q-U-I-N-O-A. I thought it was pronounced quinoa, but it's quinoa, and it is a plant-based I want to say grain. It's a grain, but it's not a grain. It's plant-based, and you can use it to make flour, and you can use it instead of rice. You can make really yummy salads with it. So I'm attempting to grow it and see if it will work. It does not like heat, so I take it out of the greenhouse during the day and then just bring it in at night. So I'm going to see how it does. But it's great to have as a side. It's great for people with diabetes that want to be able to have that pasta type of dish, but without the side effects of it turning into sugar. And there's some more tomatoes that I planted from seed. So this is my greenhouse. And this is my tour of the Fat Earth Backyard Farm. Oh, and last but not least, that's what I call my apple shtick. That's what my kids call it. That's my apple tree. That's my second year having that one. Supposedly this variety is supposed to give me some apples this year. I fertilized it. We'll see what happens. But I don't know, because last year it had seemed to have some kind of little disease going on with the leaves, which I tried to take care of. So we'll see what happens. So that's it, garden gals and guys. That's the Fat Earth Backyard Farm. It's where all the magic happens. All the triumphs, all the failures, all the learning. Pretty neat, huh? Until next time, garden gals and guys, happy gardening.